Hi, and thank you for watching The Forum. I'm your host, Ashley Tate, here with my co-host, Christy Largent, and our interesting special guest today, Scott Seaton. He is the music director and conductor for the North State Symphony, and he's done some really incredible things in our community, and so we're excited to hear what you've got going on and planned for us. And
we're really excited to have him because, as you know, there was a 2-year search with 1 year being really intensive last year when we had tryouts, right, for the new conductor of our symphony, and Scott won. So he beat out some other amazing conductors. So it's a real honor that we have him here. We're super excited. Tell us where you came from.
Yeah, where I came from. Well, I've lived in lots of places, but I moved here from North Dakota.
Okay.
Yeah, so middle of nowhere.
And that could end the sentence right there, right? To end the conversation. No, tell us about you. How did you get into music? You're really young, and I have to say, when he came in the studio, I was like, oh my gosh, he's so young and so vibrant and alive. And I have to show you, I was so excited to meet him. I know this is not about me, it's about him, but this tells you about him. Can you get a picture of this, how this is my mailer I got from North State Symphony, my concert subscription series. Can you see how awesome that is? It's a little Andy Warhol feeling, right? And I'm like, okay, this guy has got some stuff going on. So how did all this come to be?
He's just a winner in general. Yeah. All of your stuff, all of your history is all about winning things. It is. You did the interaction.
Well, I think it's about tenacity and persistence. If you want something, you gotta
That's true.
Keep trying, going.
But you have to give it up that you're just winning everything. It's pretty interesting. The semifinalists of Interaction. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
I'll start with that. Okay.
Okay.
We'll come back to who you are, where are you from, and all that later. Go ahead.
So you're talking about this interaction competition, which happens in Berlin.
Yes.
I think every year or every 2 years, and it's a competition where conductors from all over the world send in their videos and their resumes, and a handful are selected to conduct an orchestra outside of Berlin as sort of as part of this competition. Yeah. And then there's 3 winners that are selected to actually to win and conduct this orchestra that is composed of people from all the best orchestras all over Germany. So it was really an honor to be a part of that. And
that's huge.
Yeah.
And so you won the competition to do that?
Yeah, I was one of the 3 winners.
Yeah. And then you're, how many people were in the orchestra? They came from all over Germany?
Yeah. Probably 70 to 100.
Yeah, nice size.
It was a pretty big
international conductor.
For me, one of the most neat things about that particular competition was the orchestra that I was conducting. The leader of the orchestra, the concertmaster, was actually someone who had played under one of the great conductors who died like 2 decades ago. So he was like, he played for like my role model, my mentor.
Yes. And then you got to conduct.
Oh yeah, it was an amazing experience.
That is amazing.
So tell us, how did you get into music and your background and all that?
Sure. Well, let's see.
You're born
I was born.
You don't have to say that.
No. I probably around 5th grade, I started playing the saxophone because I wanted to play the theme to the Pink Panther.
Oh my gosh.
So picked up the saxophone and did that, and then sort of just kept going with it. And that was in Michigan, and then we moved to Tennessee, and then I joined the band there. And one of the big sort of transformative experiences was when I joined the marching band. So I was one of like 2 or 3 8th graders that was in the high school marching band. And that was unique because our band director was very adventurous in programming. He was doing pieces that you would hear in a classical concert hall, except these were on the marching field, which is very different. And football audiences do not want to hear this music.
No. And it's hard to play in tune when you're out on the field, and I mean, it's hard to sound good playing those things.
That too, but it was just very, very different music. Like the first piece that really transformed me was Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, and we marched that piece. This was a piece that in May 29th in 1913, this caused a riot in Paris among the classical audiences. And just think how the football audience would react to that.
Yeah, how did they react to that?
They didn't like it. So yeah, that really changed me, got me hooked on, what is this world of orchestras all about. So I just kept going and kept studying music, and when I got to college, I was fortunate enough to get a position as assistant conductor for the Nashville Youth Symphony.
Oh, wow.
So that is a position that I had for all 4 years as an undergraduate at Vanderbilt. And what was great about that is I got to conduct a really good youth orchestra every week.
Yeah.
And
so you kind of learned. It was like a mentorship.
Right. It was
invaluable.
invaluable.
I'm going to fix your thing, your mic, because it's about to fall off. There you go. Okay.
It was invaluable experience because not a lot of conductors that age get to do that.
Right.
So I was really sort of just propelled into this world.
So I'm kind of curious, as a musician, how did you go from playing saxophone to conducting?
Yeah,
that's like a
that's
really,
actually a
many
great
of us play instruments, but we never would be fierce enough to conduct or,
Right.
you
Or
know,
how do you get
strong
chosen
enough.
to do that? Do you get chosen, or is it something
You gotta make your own path.
Yeah.
Okay, that's exactly what I want to know.
People don't want to give up the stick, for one thing.
Well, I mean, that's part of it is there's so few conductors, relatively speaking. You know, in an orchestra, there's 60 to 70 musicians,
Right.
and one person leading them.
Right.
So even if you combine all the orchestras in the world, there's only still a handful of conductors.
Right.
If you're talking about professional orchestras. So it's really you just gotta.
What was the allure? Why did you want to do it?
When I was a kid, and I don't remember exactly what age, but I'm guessing pre-junior high school, I started watching Boston Pops concerts, like holiday concerts, New Year's, Christmas, July 4th.
Just like NPR, PBS shows.
Yeah, exactly.
Every holiday.
So I saw them on TV, and I saw these conductors who were creating these magical things. I'm like, wow, I want to do that. So I sort of had the seed at a really young age, and going from high school to college, it was really easy. Like I already know what I want to do, whereas a lot of people like I'm going to major in some general something, and figure it out later.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to do this, this, and this, and the path to get there is not a straight one, but I will find a way to do that.
So you wanted to conduct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. From a very young age, I wanted to conduct.
Wow.
So what are you thinking for us here in the North State? What do you have planned? What do you look run that smile out? What are you thinking?
Well, I mean, I'm still in the process of getting to know both communities, but you know, I'm looking back on what has been done in the past 15 years, especially with before the North State merger, when it was the Chico and Reading Symphonies, and seeing all that my predecessor did, and just taking things in probably a different direction. I mean,
what kind of direction are you thinking?
Well, this season is no exception. For example, even the first concert, which will be in a couple days on the 27th. In, yeah, the 26th in Reading.
Okay.
But
26th of September.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
The first concert, the meat of that concert is Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. So we're starting with the palette of this piece, which is the most famous piece in history of all music, every genre, every style. Like everyone knows this piece of music.
Right.
So we take that and you build a program around that. And also on that program is Tchaikovsky's First Piano Concerto, featuring guest pianist Alpen Hong, who has played with the symphony before. He's loved. It's going to be a great concert in that respect. But also there is a piece that is going to precede Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. It's going to be new.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a new piece that was written by a former professor of mine at Vanderbilt. And so this piece is interesting because it's sort of a prelude to the symphony, and it's taking elements from this symphony and sort of leading into the symphony. And there's a little surprise in there, which I'm not going to divulge right now.
No, we don't want
you have to come to the concert.
Yes.
Right, you have to come to the concert to see how these two pieces fit together, which is going to be very interesting. But also, I mean, it's just a huge, energetic, like it's a ball of energy, this program. I mean, I'm really excited to do it. And it starts with the overture, the first piece on the program, which is a piece by Smetana called The Bartered Bride Overture. And it's just, I was like, how am I going to start my tenure with the symphony? And this piece was one of the first things that popped into my head. So it's alive, let's just say that.
Is it difficult to kind of do all of these pieces and plan? Because as a conductor, I just found this out, he does all of the artistic planning, right, for the entire program. So how does that, I mean, well, for the entire season, so how does that all work? How do you get into the mind frame to do that?
Well, it's a huge process. Again, it's taking the needs of the orchestra, it's taking the desires of the community, and it's piecing everything together. And then this season is sort of a strange one in that most of it was done before I got here. Because
okay.
obviously I had
You
to
have
do
to book
something.
artists.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have to book
So
your special artists and so forth.
a lot of the pieces, a lot of the sort of the steak type pieces on this season are just some of my all-time favorite pieces of music. So it's really sort of in that essence a dream season of mine.
Oh, wow.
You got Beethoven 5 on the first concert, and the second concert you got Leonard Bernstein's Symphonic Dances, The West Side Story.
Fabulous.
On the third concert you have Brahms' Second Symphony, just a gorgeous symphony with the famous lullaby, the Brahms lullaby. And then the last concert is Rachmaninoff's very famous Russian composer, his last piece of music, which is this huge work. So.
Wow.
I just love I'm getting chills sitting here listening to you because you love music so much, and it's pouring out of every cell that you have.
That's true,
And our viewers I know many of our viewers are members. If you're not supporters of the North State Symphony, this would be a great time to join. The season upcoming is spectacular, as you've described, and I think you're also connecting. You have some special Christmas concerts. Anything special? We have a minute left. What? I know. So what? Anything special you'd like our viewers to know?
Well, just let me put a small addendum on my vision for the symphony. So this season and future seasons, one of the things I'm going to focus on is collaboration and sort of trying new and different things and bringing in new and different organizations and trying to form these partnerships. But for example, the last concert is one of these artistic collaborations that was set in motion many years ago. There's this composer from Chicago called Mason Bates, and he was a DJ.
Oh, wow.
He was a DJ who got noticed by the Chicago Symphony, started writing all these works for symphonies.
Fabulous.
So we're doing a work by him.
Fabulous. And most of us would never get to hear that.
No.
So it's awesome that you're doing that.
So we're melding the dance floor with the orchestral concert hall.
Is that awesome?
I want to go to that.
Okay,
So-
we have to say goodbye. Thank you so much, Scott.
It's great being here.
Become a member of the symphony, and we'll be back in a few minutes with the second half of our program.
Hi, and we're back, and we have some amazing guests to talk about the Whiskeytown National Park residency program. And here I'm with Jim Milestone. He's the superintendent of the Whiskeytown Recreational Area. Is that correct?
Yes.
National Recreation Area.
There you go.
And then I'm also here with the resident right now for the last 2 weeks, Donna Branson.
Donna is the artist in residence out at Whiskeytown. And did you even know we had such a program as an artist in residence program? Doesn't that make us sound like we're really fancy?
I think Whiskeytown's doing some amazing things.
Yeah, so we want to hear from Donna, and we also want to hear from Jim, how did this artist in residence program even get started?
Yeah.
Well, back in 2002 is when we started this program, so we've been running for 13 years.
Wow.
My mother-in-law worked at Crater Lake National Park, and they had their centennial back in 2002, and they had this wonderful artist in residence program. And when I got to Whiskeytown in 2000, I noticed that the park had no art of its landscape. And I really felt like we needed to get some artwork there to show the connection between the beautiful landscape and the art scene. And so based on what I saw the successes at Crater Lake National Park, I said, we're going to start that program here. And we had a woman who ran our visitor center bookstore named Sheila Edridge. And her husband had been a art gallery dealer in Marin County. And so she and I got together and we put this together and started this program.
All the pieces just fell together naturally for you. That's pretty impressive.
And we dedicated a cabin that we have up at the park to the Artist in Residence program.
Okay.
So it was a seasonal housing and needed some repair work. We fixed it up and then we dedicated it to the artists. And so that brings Donna here.
So this is, you said, the 13th year?
This is the 13th year.
I don't know how I've never known about that. Well, now we know about it, and we're going to share the word. How did you hear about this program, and how did you happen to apply?
Well, I was online reading a Plein Air magazine that's an online version, and you click to different stories, and one of them led me to a call for artists from Whiskeytown. And I looked at that and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds interesting. I've never done something like that, but I loved plein air.
Yeah.
My husband and I love to be out in beautiful surroundings and everything, so we looked up Whiskeytown. And I'm like, ooh, this sounds interesting.
Yeah.
So I put my materials together and sent them off to Jim, and got notified that I was one of the accepted artists for this summer.
Now that's a little bit more of an in-depth process than it sounds, because you actually are a professional artist. And what was someone deemed? What deems you as a professional artist so that you can send all the applications into the DeYoung Museum and all of that? Tell that aspect of it.
So what we look for is artists that have gallery experience, that they've sold their works professionally, that they have a resume with their artwork, and then all the applications that are sent from all over the country, they are then brought down to the DeYoung Museum of Fine Arts in San Francisco. And Emma Acker, one of their curators, she goes through all the applications, and she chooses which ones we should have, and then she sends that list up to me, and then I take a look at it and see if I like the work, and then and that's how we make the selections.
And how many will you have in a year?
Well, this year we have about 13 artists that are coming through. So we started in April and we'll go into November. And so we just have to work the schedules out for everybody, because like Donna came from Phoenix, Arizona. We had people just recently from Minnesota. So we get people from all over the country.
Yeah.
We had a person travel as far away as Ono and came. So she was great, and local artists, and so it was
nice.
really, it was great to have. So we get a wide variety of artists.
So Donna, you brought some. Can you show us what you've been inspired to do? You're only here 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But my husband and I, we're a duo. We've been out every day looking for one spot after another, and it's been so easy because I'm like, oh my goodness, that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. What are those red bark shrubs that I see everywhere? You know, I mean, it was like, I've never seen anything like them before, and we've done a lot of traveling, and I feel weird to say that, but I hadn't, so we had to go home and look, and one of my former students sent me an email saying, Dr. Branson, those are called Little Apple. You know? So anyway, that was one of my very first ones I had to do.
And we know it as a manzanita bush, ubiquitous manzanita.
That's a beautiful picture, though.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Hold
Let's
that
hold
up
it
just
up
a little
so they
bit
can-
longer. Yeah, so they can. I mean, that's,
So-
you got all the.
There were just so many to choose from. I'm like, well, I'm going to focus on this one that was
gorgeous.
along a
So
path,
beautiful.
you know, growing out of rock.
Right.
It's absolutely amazing.
With
to
very
me.
little water.
Exactly.
So this is plein air, which is you paint out in the plein air, right? Do you do now? Will you take pictures and then do some more afterwards, or how does that work?
Well, I do. That is part of the process. We will take photographs. Either I will take some or my husband will take some. And I do these little studies, plein air studies, typically 9 by 12, 8 by 10 studies, and do them within 2 hours because of the sun changing and the shadow patterns get altered and so forth. And then I take those home with me, and sometimes they're framed up just as they are, but other times I will use them as the basis for doing additional kinds of work, especially larger studies.
So would you do something larger out of your manzanita?
Oh, I think it'd be gorgeous.
It would be. I mean, the photos
so too.
I guess that sounds kind of vain, but no, I think it would be because it's such a dramatic shrub,
It
you
is,
know.
yeah.
Right.
But I also do. I like to do. You know, there's a historic area in Whiskeytown
you with
that
that.
I think is just a jewel. And so I did this little one of one of the old barns, which I just love studies like that.
Oh my
you know?
gosh, Donna, she's so this is amazing art. I hope it's coming over the TV. This is spectacular.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, this is not
You
your
are
tip.
so
yeah,
kind.
this is really, really. You can tell if you know even the slightest bit about art. You know this is something special.
Now,
Yeah.
because it is so special and because it is so gorgeous, what's your plan with the art when the residents leave?
So the deal is, if you, Donna and Mike are staying at the cabin, and so they stay there for the 2-week period, and in exchange for rent, they leave a painting behind. So we talk about which ones she did and which ones I like, and try to see if we can barter for this particular one. And then sometimes we really like this particular artist's work, and so we'll purchase one of the other paintings that the artist has done.
That's fantastic.
So that's something that, if I see something we really like, having the artist stay at the same cabin and exploring the park for the first time. Oftentimes the artists are drawn to the same places.
Interesting.
So
that's neat.
Surprising.
So I asked Donna this time, I said, do you paint people? And so she said, yeah, I do. And so she's done, we're interested in some of her work that shows people playing in the park.
Let's see this one, Donna.
Well,
I'm peeking through the wax paper here.
Well, over the Labor Day weekend, I spent some time down in Brandy Creek.
Yes, a favorite place.
Gorgeous. And the sun was striking these just vibrant greens, and then there'd be all the shadows. So the play of light and dark and cool and warm was, from an artist's perspective, fabulous. But the whole time I was sitting down on one of these rocks and I'm painting the little waterfall, I'm listening to these families, and oh my gosh, the kids were having a ball, So I was picking up the camera and snapping as I was painting, and this was one I snapped these children playing, and I did a couple of them because they were so much fun to watch. So when Jim told me that he liked that, I thought, well, I can combine some of my plein air work with the photograph that has some of these little people in it.
That's a great idea.
And that's how I created this one.
Oh, wow.
I love it. Okay, so there's that one.
And I did one more with a lot of people, a number of people. And
my.
This day I was down, again, this is in the historic area, but I was down on this little creek.
That's Clear Creek.
Clear Creek. It was just gorgeous, where two of the creeks come together, and then there's like this little waterfall that happens. Well, while I'm down there, a whole group of children and their parents came down with a ranger. And the ranger was teaching them how to pan for gold. And I was like, oh my goodness. And this little guy right here, he just couldn't wait to see what I was doing, So he would go back and forth from panning for gold to come in and seeing, what are you doing now?
That's so cute.
It was really, really cute. So I thought, well, I did this creek without people, plein air, and then my husband had taken some pictures of the children, and I'm like, oh, well, maybe that would be a good one that they would like.
The interesting thing that you don't realize, you may not realize, is that this is kind of a quintessential part of growing up in Shasta County. Every kid has their memory of playing in the creek and doing the panning for gold and being in that outdoor environment, and so you've captured it so
for me, it was all new.
Which is, to me, the beauty of it. It's like it jumps out.
Well, I just have to say, I think that this collaboration that you're doing with, artists all over the country, you're working with San Francisco, you're putting the art here and adding this memory for Redding and Shasta County in general. It's really putting Whiskeytown on the map nationally. It's very interesting to me and exciting, because I love Whiskeytown. My kids love Whiskeytown. I think Redding is proud to have Whiskeytown in its backyard. It's just really an amazing place.
It's a jewel for the North State. Any last words? How can people come see this art? The best way. We're wrapping up here.
So we have pieces up at our visitor center from time to time, but next year will be the centennial of the National Park Service.
Oh my gosh.
And we're going to have a show at Turtle Bay of the art of Whiskeytown.
Wonderful.
So all the art in the park will be on display there, and it should be a really great show.
And in the meantime, this is the 50th anniversary of Whiskeytown this year, so be sure to get out there and enjoy it. We have to say goodbye. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Jim. And thank you for watching us here on the forum. And we will see you again next week.